told you, I'll be speaking to the General Manager in charge of medical at CIC General Insurance, and that is Fred RORO, who is live already with us in studio, and we'll be getting to hear from him on some interesting insights, because according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, in the last 5 years, approximately 2.2 million micro SMEs failed within the first year of establishment. This represents about 46% of the total enterprises surveyed. One of the reasons some of them fail is due to entrepreneurs taking money from the company to cover for unexpected medical emergencies, a problem which can be solved by acquiring group medical insurance. And CIC has been making some strides to ensure that the sector survives by introducing Medipack. Well, this is something we'll be getting more details on, and it's targeted towards the employees. And right now, just to expound further on this, we want to bring in Fred RORO. Many thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, Abe. Thank you for having us. You said I'm Fred, and the General Manager at CIC for medical business. The issue of health insurance really goes down to touches on each and every one of us. And from the aspect of the SME, what you realize as an SME, you have a whole host of issues that you are trying to manage. Access to capital, access to market, skills. And specifically today, I want to dwell on this one particular area, the last one, the area of skills.
Yes.
And what CIC saw is that there is an opportunity to help the entrepreneurs, the SME, to encourage their staff to attract good staff into their organization. And we came up with the concept of a health insurance specifically for SME. From a conceptual,
sorry to interject, how has it performed in the market really, that product for the SMEs? What's the uptake like?
The uptake has been very positive. The growth is there, the market is responding. And I think that is largely on the background of the bulk of the industry, the companies in Kenya. They are SMEs. And so when they come across the information that there's actually a particular solution that is targeting them. The background information was that traditionally the insurance was very specific to big companies.
Sure.
So you find if you are working in a big company or you are running a big company, getting health insurance for your employees is very easy.
Yes.
And then there was the individuals. So the SMEs, they were sitting somewhere in between, and the market was struggling to come up with a solution.
Of course, they were really undertapped.
Yeah, indeed. So CIC came in and came up with a solution for SMEs called Medipack. And what we have seen is, if you are running an SME and something happens to your employees, rather than going back to your coffers to access the money to pay for the medical bills for your employees, at least you have that security of mind that in the event such an event comes up, your employees will be taken care of. The other issue that, the other value that we have been able to extend to the SMEs is the issue of employee loyalty, where if you are an employee, you are more keen to work for an employer who provides health insurance for you and your employees.
But of course, there's an additional cost to this SME, which is also trying to really establish itself. How do you get to convince these people that it's important for you to have group medical insurance for your staff?
Yeah, it's not actually a question of convincing per se. It's a question of value, because what are the alternatives? Assuming you have an employee who gets unwell, the first thing they do is they don't come to work. You either have to get a replacement or work doesn't get done.
Yeah.
Number two,
productivity.
It affects productivity. Number two, you have to get money that you had not planned for to take care of the employees. And of course, there are health consequences. There is a human side of business that you appear not to attend to your employees.
Sure.
So when you look at the values and again compare to the cost of insurance, which is not significant per se when you compare the value that you get, then you don't need to be convinced.
Interesting.
Indeed.
So what's the cheapest package right now in the market?
The cheapest package in the market, when you look at the solution that we have, it ranges from, by definition of the cover limit. So the lowest cover limit is 300,000. That you find is the cheapest. I think it's around 15,000. To the most expensive one, which the inpatient cover limit is 5 million. You also find some element of flexibility where you have, you can choose to upgrade your cover to include outpatient, to include dental, to include outpatient and maternity. So that element of flexibility, and also on the payment terms, because you find most SMEs, unlike the big businesses, they have to manage cash flow. So we try to accommodate the SMEs by extending to them friendly payment terms. Yeah.
So what happens if, let's say, an SME goes under and they had already signed up for a cover? What's the fallback plan for the company?
Yeah, usually SME, you find more often than not the SMEs which take insurance, health insurance for the employees, don't go under. But should it happen, insurance, you take a cover for 1 year, just like your motor vehicle insurance.
Sure.
So that 1 year runs its course. Come renewal, then we can have conversation what to do about the individual employees, if they would like to come now in as individuals, or you'd like to have some form of arrangement to continue.
All right. Great. And I'm sure, Fred, you look at a lot of data when it comes to trying to strategize and try and scale to tap into more SMEs. What are the trends showing in terms of insurance penetration in the country?
Yeah, largely the trends that we are observing is people are becoming more aware. The incidence, there's been a very high incidence of cancer cases, cardiac issues, which require people to go to India. And when people realize there's an alternative to doing a harambe, they really consider that alternative very seriously. So we have seen an upsurge on the uptake of health insurance from the SMEs, from the retail, and also from the corporate. So there has been some reasonable growth. Actually, when you look at the IRA numbers, you'll find the industry has been growing consistently. The fastest growing channel is a class of insurance, health insurance, followed by the others. Yeah. So the trend has been positive, but we could do more because there are still many Kenyans who, who are good here.
So what's CIC's strategic outlook, and for instance, what's in the horizon in terms of the products you offer?
Okay. The outlook, I would say it is positive in terms of we are focusing on how can we give more value to our customers. You find in the recent past where people just go to India for diagnosis. People, they want to know what condition do I have. And we are trying to see how we can partner, not just with hospitals in India, but also hospitals in Europe, hospitals in South America, in North America, such that you're able to get your diagnosis right where you are. Right. So I would say, to answer your question, the trend is positive, and we are very optimistic about the future. Indeed.
And how significant will pricing be for insurance companies? Because it is emerging as a very key area of concern when it comes to pricing.
Yeah, pricing in health insurance company is a function of many things. And the biggest input into the pricing of your premium, health insurance premium, is the cost of healthcare, because on the back end of our services, we also pay the hospitals. So, and the hospital also depend on variables. So I would say in the recent past, we have observed some stability in terms of the inputs, the cost from the hospitals, and that translates to what we charge our customers. So I would say we expect the cost to remain largely stable. You just said the inflation rate, now it was announced today, it was 7.06%. 7.06%. So that should be more or less what we should expect moving forward. Just the inflationary adjustments.
All right. And just a closing question right now. There's a lot of feedback coming in on social media, and of course, one of the big conversations is also around when it comes to recovery. And insurance companies do get lots of claims to pay in the event that someone falls sick and they are treated and you have to claim. And how can we improve on the claim settlement process and make it more faster and more able to augur well with these consumers?
Yeah, actually, in terms of settlement of claims, especially when we work with CIC, the question of us paying your claim largely doesn't arise because we have established relationship with hospitals you go to get treatment from. And that, based on that relationship, we pay the hospitals directly. So you as a member, when you get sick or you have had an accident and you require health care, your role is just to turn up in the hospital, identify yourself, get treated, and the hospital and the insurance company, now the CIC, will sort out the differences in the back end. So that should not concern anyone at this stage because it's already taken care of.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, many thanks, Fred RORO, General Manager for Medical at CIC General Insurance Limited. Thank you, sir.
Thank you too, Abi.
We'll be keeping an eye on your financials and seeing how the company continues to grow or not here on KTN Business. Well, let's talk matters tourism now. And tourism players from Mombasa have lashed out at the Kenya Tourism Board for not having an aggressive plan to better market the country. The players say Kenya's tourism must be sensitive and better marketed if it is to compete on a global stage.